Hey there guys, and welcome to this week's episode. In today's show, I wanted to help you get a bit more confidence with reading the tarot cards, because I know that a lot of you who follow me, especially on Instagram and Facebook, love my Tarot Tuesday posts, which is, I guess, kind of morphed into a weekly guidance post as I use a bit more oracle cards. But I know that a lot of you really love the idea of reading the cards, and it's something that you want to be able to do for yourself, but you don't feel confident. You have this calling to learn tarot. You may have had grandmothers or other female figures in your life who read the cards for you when you were younger, or you just feel this calling towards using the cards. And it's hard when you're just starting out because you don't really know where to get this information from. You kind of get this feeling like you have to have this information passed down from your mother, who learnt it from her mother, who learnt it from her mother, and so forth. But the truth is, you can start anywhere. You don't need to be a fifth generation witch to learn how to read the tarot cards. For example, I am pretty much the first in my family to be anything spiritual, coming from like my mother and her mother and that line of the family. There's like nothing witchy about my family. So don't worry if you are not coming from like that generational line of witches. You still have everything you need to start reading the cards confidently. So let's dive into it. Reading the tarot cards intuitively, it does take a bit of practice, and you don't need to look at the guidebook. Like, often you'll buy a tarot deck and it'll come with a book. It can be really helpful, yes, but I really want you to move away from that practice where you're relying on that guidebook for your card interpretations. I want you to start to trust your intuition. And so what this can look like is you can just, like flip over a card and you'll just look at it and something will come to your mind instinctively. And it could be anything. And it's about learning to trust what comes up for you intuitively, trusting those instincts. Because there's a reason why you might flip over the World card and you might be like, oh, you're going to finish working at your job, or, you know, something like that. Like, you can absolutely use your intuition to read the cards. It doesn't have to look like exactly what it looks like in the guidebook. And you'll probably also know from experience, if you are one of those people who uses the guidebook a lot for interpreting your readings, you'll notice that sometimes you'll ask the cards a question and you'll pull out some cards or whatever, and you'll read the guidebook and you'll be like, that, you know, doesn't really fit with what's going on in my life right now. Like, that guidebook can be wrong because it's missing that intuitive factor. Tarot reading is supposed to be intuitive. Like, it doesn't need to be guided by a set of rules. However, in saying that, you can, I guess, break it down and kind of use your knowledge of the tarot to help you decipher an intuitive meaning. So I don't necessarily mean that you need to go through each of the 78 cards in the deck and memorize every single card, but by having a basic understanding of the energies behind the cards, such as the 4 suits for the minor arcana, what each of those 4 suits means. And then applying some numerology. So you'll know that in the minor arcana, you've got the 10 pips cards from aces through to 10s. So each of those numbers has a meaning. And so you apply the meaning of that number and you kind of mix that up with the energy of the suit. And from that you can deduce a meaning, but of course using your intuition. So it's kind of like you get these keywords from these various factors in the cards, and then you use your intuition to piece it together. So, for example, aces mean new beginnings, like a fresh start. And then you look at the suit. So let's say the Ace of Cups. Cups is associated with water, and the water element is associated with things like love, emotions, relationships. And so looking at the Ace of Cups, knowing that ace means new beginnings and cups could mean relationships, you might feel like the Ace of Cups is meaning a new beginning for a relationship, or perhaps even a new relationship beginning. And so you can use your intuition, or you could say a new beginning with your emotions, or a new beginning with love. You can use your intuition as to what you're feeling that card means for the person. So there are so many ways that you can read the cards. Like the cards are each card does not have a hard and fast interpretation. You can mix it up, you can kind of make it up and trust your intuition as you're working through a reading. So of course, there's other ways that you can read the cards too. You can look at the symbolism that's on the cards. So going back to the World card that I picked up before, often there's like a sun and a big circle and other things on the card. I'm using my Herbal Tarot deck at the moment. My default tarot deck. I do love this one more than the traditional Rider-Waite deck. And so on this card, I know that there's also comfrey, because each card in this deck has a herb. And so I can look at these images that are on the cards, and that can also prompt my intuition. So this deck may not work for everyone if you don't know much about herbs, but for me, I do know quite a bit about herbs. And so I know that comfrey is a herb of healing, like medicinally. It's a really wonderful herb for healing broken bones or fractures or sprained ankles, that sort of thing. So I may feel like the world traditionally means a completion, and with that comfrey herb in the mix as well, I might feel like they're coming to a completion of a healing cycle in their life. But of course, the card could mean something different every time I pull it for each client I'm doing a reading for. So again, use your intuition. There is no one way to read the cards. You can use a combination of different ways to read the cards. So I hope that was a really helpful little guide about how you can read the cards quite easily. You don't need to memorize everything. You don't need to really spend hours studying. You can read them as easily as by trusting your intuition. And it is really fun to try it. Like, just give it a go, because sometimes when you do just trust your intuition, like, you can amaze yourself. Some really interesting things can come out. So the next time you're going to maybe give yourself a reading, or you feel like giving someone else a reading, just trust your intuition. Don't feel like you have to go back into the guidebook and look through stuff. Don't feel like you're going to get it wrong or say the wrong thing. Because a lot of the time when you're trusting your intuition, it's way more accurate than what's in the guidebook. So have a lot of fun playing with the tarot. And if you do want to learn more about deepening your understanding of the tarot decks and a bit more about that simple strategy that I talked about, where you're mixing up the numerology with the different suits, you can join my Tarot Beginners course, which is now live in the Herbal Moon Goddess Academy. And it is a wonderful beginner's course. If you're new to the tarot, or you just want to boost your confidence, I teach you my simple strategies for learning tarot so that you can confidently do readings for yourself and others. The link for the Herbal Moon Goddess Academy is in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.